Year would have marked Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 93rd birthday. As the nation is prepared to celebrate the life and legacy of the civil rights giant who had a dream that turned into a reality with much more work that still needs to be done. On today's show, we are sharing his impact here locally. Joining me today is returning guest, the first black female captain for the Columbia Police Department, Miss Estelle Young, who worked with Dr. King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Thank you so much for coming back to the show, Miss Estelle.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, I remember when we had you on for Black History Month last year, and you brought up that you worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I said, we have to have you back next year to talk about what that was like, because when we hear stories about him, we always hear the national stories and not really the local impact that he had right here in South Carolina. So walk us through the moment that you met Dr. King. You were 16 years old, right?
I was 16 years old, and we were at the Penn Center in Beaufort, South Carolina. And this particular evening, we just finished a training, and lo and behold, I guess that was the most exciting time in my life. Dr. King walked in the room unannounced, and you know how your heart just beats so fast. And I went, oh my God, I'm gonna meet Dr. King. Oh my God, I'll meet Dr. King. And he was so humble. And everybody was just sitting up there in awe, not knowing what to say. And it was one of the most experiencing times I've ever had in my life.
What year was this?
1960.
1960. So this is at the height of the civil rights movement.
Yes.
And you said you were going through a training. What kind of training?
At that particular time, they were doing classes on us teaching people how to read and write in order to vote. So they were classes where we went out to churches in different areas in the state, and they told you how to handle the classes, what to say, and how to go about dealing with the older people that you were going to be teaching.
So as a 16-year-old working with Dr. King's organization at the time, did you realize the impact of Dr. King at that moment?
I did not.
Wow.
And the most amazing thing is, all of those years that we worked with Southern Christian Leadership Conference, being a little city girl from a small neighborhood, I never thought to take a picture with the man. So I met a star.
You were just living in the moment. When you reflect on Dr. King's legacy and the impact that he made here in South Carolina and across the nation, and knowing that you were able to work alongside him, what did you take away from that moment?
He taught us so much humbly. That you can do anything that you want to do as long as you stay sane, humble, and I guess not angry about what has happened in life, because he was a humble person, and he taught us how to be nonviolent.
Yeah,
so
which was a full circle moment for you, being the first black female captain here in the city of Columbia. I remember we talked about some of those hardships that you went through where, you know, this was during a time where black people were not respected in those positions.
You're right.
And you had to show a lot of restraint a lot of times. So thank you so much, Mrs. Estelle, for coming on and sharing that moment about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and what he left behind in this world and the impact he made on you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.